Our second Wednesday workshop. If you missed the first one, there's a recording of it, and you can review it on your own time. So last time we talked about how to win the business plan competition, and the secrets are all there. So I encourage you to go back and look at it. No, I'm just kidding. There were some good tips, particularly around focusing on the problem that you're trying to solve. And today we're going to talk a little bit more about that, and also talk about value propositions. And we're going to get to know you a little bit better today as well. And then let me talk a little bit about some administrative matters as it relates to the business plan competition. For those of you who don't know, I'm Peter Rowan. I'm the Executive Director of the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Center. I'm so happy to be here and happy to have you all. So the key dates that you have to remember are going to come up fast. Spring goes by really fast. So we have March 22nd, when you have a 2 to 3 page business plan summary due. And you'll have a group of judges that will take a look at your business plan summary. And if you want to know what that should look like, and what the judge's rubric are, and some examples of what a winning submission looks like, go to the BPC website and study those. And then in April, on the 19th and 22nd, we have the semifinal round, when you'll have a chance to do 2-minute elevator pitches in front of 7 to 9 judges. And this is going to be in a trade show format. And again, the template and the rubric is also on the website. And then finally, if you work hard, and I know you will, and you'll make it through that, you'll get to the finals. And on May 20th, we'll have a big event with 10-minute pitches in front of judges. And we'll be doing that event down at The Collective, which is a great co-working space downtown. So the timeline, once again, right now we're in the preparation mode. You're ahead of the crowd because you're participating in these workshops. You're learning how to put a good competitive entrant forward. And then we'll have the screening round, a semifinal round, and the final round. So as you go along, you're going to have an opportunity to be mentored by expert coaches and get a lot of wonderful experience. I urge you, if you haven't built a team, to think about this as a team effort. Entrepreneurship is hard. It's not a solo sport. It's a team sport. Because it's an extreme sport, so don't do it alone. Let's do a little bit of round of intros. We have a nice intimate group here, so we have a chance to do introductions. We built this slide with the assumption that everyone here is competing in the competition or has an idea already. That might not be true, which is fine. But you can start by introducing yourself and what program and major you come from. And if you are thinking about competing, or you plan to, tell us the problem that you're trying to solve and the target customer. So good entrepreneurial ventures start with the problem and who you're solving the problem for. So maybe you could spend a little bit of time, just 15 seconds on that. So it would be like, I'm Peter, from the entrepreneurship department, and I'm solving the problem of trying to get more students interested in entrepreneurship. So my customers are students, and my problem is I'm trying to raise awareness of entrepreneurship. That's 15 seconds. So who wants to start? I'll just call on folks then. Okay, I see a hand. Yeah, go for it. Thank you.
Hello. Yep. Hello, everyone. My name is Kevin. The program major I'm in is the Bridge MBA program. The problem I want to solve is I wanted to create like an esports gaming center on campus, which will allow like a bunch of students that have an interest or a passion in gaming to want to be more involved with the school and actually like come to campus and play with their friends. And yeah, that's basically my target customers is students, possibly like other universities that want to participate in like an esports gaming center. And I do know UW Seattle has a esports center right now. So I'm hoping maybe if CILU is interested, then maybe they can help like offer like a space, like a dedicated space to have a whole bunch of computers, gaming centers, TVs and stuff for students to hang out and play games.
Yeah, it's a growth area. All right, well, we'll learn. Maybe we'll have time to talk a little bit more about that in a bit. All right, who's next?
Hey there. My name's Joe.
Hi.
Sorry for the poor camera quality. I have one on order for my new office, but I'm in the PMBA program. Got an email about this workshop last night, I think, from the business school. So just kind of here to listen to what's going on. And while I don't have an immediate problem, I have some experience with business competitions. In my undergrad, we went to the Clean Tech Open with a piece of commercialized technology around essentially turning cow manure into a natural gas equivalent. But market forces happen, and the fracking revolution brought down the price of natural gas considerably. So that idea never really went anywhere.
Yeah, right. Well, it's excellent you have experience with that. So
yeah, just looking to learn.
Yeah, great. Thanks for being here. All right, who else? Casey, Alex, Amy, anybody want to go next?
Sure. Hi, my name's Alex. I'm a student at the law school, and
Great.
I found out about this about 20 minutes ago. So I don't have a exact problem that I'm solving yet, but
Okay.
I'm thinking about it.
All right. Awesome. Great. I'm glad to have you here. It's great to have representation from over at the law school. And yeah, wonderful to have you here. Thanks for coming. Who else?
Hi, I'm
Hi.
Casey, and
Hi, Casey.
I'm currently in the Bridge MBA program as well. And I'm not here with an idea. I'm here as a supporting, I guess, partner for Anthony.
Okay. All right. Excellent. All right. Thanks for being here, Casey. Well, we got a couple more folks. Anthony?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Anthony, and I'm in the Bridge MBA program. And to be honest, I'm still trying to flush my idea out. And just here to pretty much listen and see what I can learn, and then how that will help in pretty much solidifying everything that I have in mind.
All right. Perfect.
Hi, I can go next.
All right. Thanks, Ahmed.
So yes, my name is Ahmed Ugas. I'm a current Bridge MBA student as well. I don't currently have a problem. I'm still brainstorming ideas of the problem I would like to solve, and as well as the target customer. But I'm currently thinking about that. But I'm currently being open-minded of different the possibilities, and I'm currently brainstorming on what major problem today that I could solve. Thank you.
All right. Great. Well, this is super helpful. I'm so glad that you're all here. And I think maybe today and last, the Wednesday workshop #1 might be something you want to go back to and take a quick look at. You can skip through some of the boring parts or all the boring parts, and because you're all at a stage where maybe some of that information is useful. So that's really where I'm going to focus today is helping you all flesh out the idea. And so this is a version of something called the business model canvas. And so the small capitalized fonts are kind of components of a business model. And in the center here where it says start, we have something called the value proposition. The value proposition is really where we're going to talk today. So you've probably heard this term, for those of you that have been kicking around your business degree, you've probably heard this term. What what's the thing that you're doing? What's the benefit that you're bringing to the table in your business, usually called the value proposition. So I like to think about this as, what problem are you solving? And it doesn't always have to be a problem. Remember that. Sometimes you're creating a benefit, or you're creating an improvement, you're creating an efficiency, you're making something more awesome than it was before. So it does not always have to be a problem in the sense that, you know, the world is full of problems, and go out and find a big problem and create a solution, and that's an opportunity. Now, that is a good way of innovating, for sure, but that does not that's not the only way of being an entrepreneur, and that's not the only way of innovating. So sometimes it's about gains we create, as well as just pain alleviation and problem solving. And then the next thing we do after we discover possible gains that we can create, or problems that we can solve, is we have to think about who we're solving those problems for. And so we move quickly over to this area called customer segments. So these two things should be actually right next to each other. And in this business model canvas, they're not linked. But you might use this canvas as a blank canvas, like an artist, and dabble with it and experiment with it, and you know, draw on it, use sticky notes, and experiment with ideas for how your business model might work. The big mistakes that we make as entrepreneurs is we fall in love with our idea, and then we design the features and function of the business model, and we don't change it. We forget that we're supposed to be agile, and we're supposed to be adaptable or adaptive to changes in the real world, because we don't really know what's going to happen. We're not psychic. We're just trying to be creative and aggressive about creating something new. So what we should be doing is going out in the real world, gathering facts about the real world, learning about it, and changing our business model on the fly. So everything should be changing. It should be a whiteboard where we're scratching it off and rewriting our business model as we go. And that's the way this is really meant to be used. So there's a video here that I'm not going to play for you, because I don't have the privileges to share my sound, and that's the honest truth. And also, it's only about 3 or 4 minutes long, but I'm going to share the slides with you after, and it's going to explain something called the value proposition canvas, which is really a way of linking the value proposition to the customer segment. And I'm going to spend the next few minutes talking about that, and then later you can hear a person with a lot more cogent explanation summarize that for you. So how's that for skipping over an important part of the explanation? Oops, hold on a second. Let me get back out of this. Okay, so what is the value proposition? Well, when you think about solving problems, you know, you're not solving problems for yourself as the entrepreneur, you're solving it for somebody, ideally for a customer. If you're trying to do this for a profit, you're solving it for a paying customer. So you're adding some value to them, and they're paying you presumably because you're creating some sort of gain, or you're alleviating some pain with some service or feature or functionality, some benefit that you're providing. Now, you could be doing something completely new that's never been done before. That happens. And you know, many of the wildly successful companies that we use their services quite regularly, they kind of came from nowhere and created a whole new market. But most of the time, there are slight innovations, slight tweaks, slight improvements, you know, making a better mousetrap, as they say. And that's a very important area of innovation. So you have to think about how you're going to be better than the way it's done now. So you're going to find that out from talking to customers. So if you get anything from today's workshop, it should be this: go out and talk to customers. Don't design your business idea inside your head or inside a room or inside a Zoom meeting with your team. Brainstorm that way, but then get the real answers by talking to customers. And they'll be willing to share this with you. It's amazing how much people are willing to talk about their problems. You know, I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, and it took me more than half my life to realize that if I just asked people what they wanted, they were willing to tell me what they wanted. And particularly as students, you know, if you start with, I'm a student working on a project, and I'd like to ask you some questions about a problem that you have in this area, fill in the blank. People are really willing to help you because you're a student, one, and two, because they like to talk about their problems. And that's just the way it is. And you'll probably have to cut them off at some convenient point when you've gotten enough information. And so then you gather information to design your business model that way. And that's called customer discovery. So your value proposition is the basis for your competitive pitch in the business plan competition. It's almost the only thing. I mean, this is a business plan competition, so some judges will be looking for more. They'll be looking for how well you put together your slides. They'll be looking for how well you described your team's qualifications. They'll be looking for how well you put together a financial forecast and how well you answered questions on the fly about this and that risk, you know, from competitors. That's true. But at the end of the day, you're going to do well in this competition based on how well you showed them that there's a real problem out there that customers want solved. And you know this because you talked to them and you got evidence. And I assure you that validating your value proposition is the best way to do it. So on the top row of boxes here, because it gives you an order of thinking about the value proposition. And then the bottom one is an example from us, from the IEC, you know, why we're doing the BPC. So, you know, we have our customers, students and alumni, and we have this product, the business plan competition, which the purpose of which is to help them launch a new business so that they can get connected with coaches and win prize money. And our differentiator is that there's no other resource like this, right? So this is our value proposition in offering this competition. So that might be one way of thinking about it. Another simple way of thinking about it is we do X for Y by doing Z. So you could just create that sentence. We do X for Y by doing Z. So, you know, X is the activity, Y is the customer segment, and Z is the differentiator, you might say. So the simpler, the better. So you don't have customers now. We know that. This is, you're a startup, you're an idea on a napkin. So when I say go out and talk to customers, I'm not telling you go out and pitch customers your idea. This is very important. What I'm telling you is go out and learn about the problem. In last or 2 weeks ago, don't think I put it back in here. I should have, but I had a slide. It said, don't fall in love with our idea, fall in love with the problem, become an expert on the problem, learn everything there is to learn about the problem you're trying to solve. If you can convince judges that you are experts on a problem and that problem really exists, it's going to go a long way towards impressing this group. So that's what the customers are. They're not, for you at this stage, people who are paying you. We know this already. We know that what stage of a business you're in, that you're in the nascent stage. But be very specific and start small. So a trap that entrepreneurs often fall into is the excitement trap of thinking everyone could be a customer. Right? This is a great product or service I've come up with that potentially anyone could buy. And anyone sounds like a big business, right? How many people are there in the world? If anyone could be a customer and I'm going to charge a few bucks for my product and service, then that's a pretty big business, right? Well, that's not right, because there aren't any businesses where everyone is a customer. There's only one I know of, and that's if you sell oxygen and you can deprive the world of oxygen, then you have a business that everyone needs, and you have a strategy of holding back what everyone needs and you can sell it to them. But that's the only one I can think of. I don't know any others, and I don't know anyone in that business. So we're using something called empathy to learn what customers want. So that's putting yourself in other people's shoes. So we use empathy because we're not psychic. So if we were psychic, then you wouldn't need to be here, right? You would just go out and play the market, and I wouldn't be here either. But we're not. So we have to go out and ask, and then we have to design our business based on what the evidence tells us. And so, we come to believe and get excited about the strength of our business, the strength of and the potential for our business based on what the evidence tells us. And we're going to get our stakeholders, our future investors, the judges in the business competition, correspondingly excited about this based on how that excitement is going to show through in the scores they give you for your in the judging evaluations, based on the evidence that you show them. So you can come in and say, I have this great business idea. Here's all the whiz bang slides and the wonderful presentation. And that's one way to do it. Or you can do the same thing and say, and here's how I know, because I went out and I talked to 100 potential customers, and this is what they told me. They told me that they needed this product and that if I built it, they would buy it. And here are the statistics. Here's the pie chart. Here's the table where I can show you that 8 out of 10 of the people I interviewed said, yes, I have this problem. That data will win this competition. I urge you to follow that approach. So empathy mapping is, it sounds a little squishy, but it's really just about looking people in the eyes, if you can, over Zoom or in person, and seeing their pupils dilate when you ask them to describe a situation like a problem that they have, and you see their pupils dilate because they have the problem, and you see that they feel it for real, and they're not just filling out a survey and putting threes right down the middle just to get it done, right? They're really resonating with that. So these are real pains and real frustrations that they want solved. So people get angry when their service providers don't give them what they need. And you'll feel that anger, you'll see that anger, right? They get excited when they think about the gains that are possible. And you can see that in their eyes, and you can document that. And why do you document it? Why are we doing this? Because we're trying to recognize a pattern. We're trying to see that after talking to 1, we don't really have that much information. But when we talk to 10, we start to see something. It looks like something. And then when we talk to 20, it starts to really resemble something real. And then maybe we talk to 100. And now we see for certain, there's a pattern that we can do something with. And we might even know something that almost seems like a secret. We found something that we know that others don't know about customers. And if we're smart and we move on it, we might have a business opportunity because we've discovered an unmet need. And it might even be a little advantage that we have, either of timing or of market opportunity. So that's the pattern recognition that you get from going out and talking to people. So here's an example of a pattern recognition. It's sort of a silly example, but we can slice up the customer segments by demographic data, but it's not going to help us that much. But if we interview enough people, we might be able to find a pattern that's usually behavioral, right? So in this example, it's just, people with square heads are good customers for square hats. But, demographics like ages or genders or geographic locations are sometimes useful, but usually it takes more than that. Usually there's behavioral or psychographic data that we need, and that comes from talking to people. So here's the value proposition canvas, the one that on the video that I didn't show you. So it's a map that where you're trying to fit the gains and pains that customers want in their daily life, in the jobs that they do, or in the lives that they lead. And you're mapping that to the gain creators and pain relievers that your value proposition can provide. And if you can fit those two things together, then very likely there's a transaction that can happen between your venture, your company, and those customers. And that's called product market fit. And when you can achieve product market fit, then there's very likely a business there. And that's what we're looking for, product market fit. So some mistakes that get made here pretty commonly are making things overly complex, maybe trying to do too much. I often ask people tell me how your company makes money, and if their answer is, well, it's rather complicated, or there's a number of different ways, and there's 5 different lines of business, and some of it's over here and some of it's over here, and oh, by the way, we make a lot of money from advertising. That's probably too complicated. Or if I ask them, what problem are you solving, and they don't have a good answer, then you got to go back and do more work. So we do X for Y by doing Z. You should all be able to fill in that sentence, right? So as you flesh out your idea, fill in the blanks on that. So this is, I think, my last slide. I think that the judges are very wonderful people. They're volunteering their time, and they're giving you this incredible gift of their experience and knowledge. And when you pitch them, just like when you pitch an investor, they can't help it, but in their mind, they're also thinking these questions. They're thinking, so what? Who cares? How do you know this is true? So they have this snarky little voice in their mind, and they can't help it because they've heard so many pitches before. They've heard so many entrepreneurs come to them with their dream, and they've gotten a little jaded about it. So if you just know that, and know that they can't help it, even though they open their ears, their minds to the next great idea, they're still going to have this little voice that's undermining their enthusiasm for your pitch. How can you answer these questions up front? Well, you can answer it with the evidence that I just described. Go out and get it. So everyone is going to be a doubter. It's easier as a judge to destroy than it is to construct. So what I mean by that is it's easier to critique something and find a little hole and unravel a beautiful presentation or a beautiful business idea than it is to you know, to find something beautiful about it. So I'm good at that. I have to admit, I'm good at finding the one little reason why something won't work. And most of us as investors or as judges, we're looking for that one little reason not to move forward. We're not looking for the reason to move forward. We're looking for the reason not to move forward because we're scared. We're risk averse. So these are the questions that sit in our mind. And so you need to be aware that we have these questions in our mind and think, how can I overcome this natural negativity that the judges are going to have towards my idea, even if I do a wonderful presentation and wonderful slide. And I think the answer is overpower them with customer data, right? I know from my own personal experience as on both sides of the table, as an entrepreneur, as an investor, as a judge, so forth, that it doesn't matter whether it's the craziest idea in the world. When an entrepreneur shows that the customers are voting with their wallets, that idea is going to get funded. That idea is going to win the competition. It's going to do well. It doesn't matter. It could seem like the stupidest idea you ever heard of, but if people are paying for it, it's a winner. And so the way that you can win the competition is to go get the answers, go find out, go out of the building and prove to yourself that your baby isn't ugly, that it's a real opportunity. And so that's what I'm encouraging you to do, is not to wait around designing the perfect baby, designing the perfect business model. And so start with the problem, find the customers, try to fit those two things together and get as much evidence as you can. And I think you'll do great. And I am done. So I'm happy to answer questions and otherwise chit chat. But we don't have to either.
Do you?
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
Okay. And again, sorry about the horrible camera quality.
No, no problem.
Do you have office hours where we could talk to you about kind of, getting into the world of commercialization and possibly looking to retool another entrepreneur's failed venture. So getting into licensing and fun topics like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't have set office hours, but if you just want to send me an email, my email is prowan@seattleu.edu,
Okay.
and I'm happy to set something up. And those are all topics that I have some experience with. Some dangerous level experience with. I'm happy to talk about.
Hi, I had a question.
Sure, Kevin.
I was wondering who would be a good point of contact to talk to about setting up this this proposition of mine with the esports center.
So something on campus.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm new enough at Seattle U. I just started in September that I don't have the answer for that, but I can get the answer for you.
Okay.
So why don't you follow, also send me a note and remind me that I told you that I would get you the answer. And I'll try to find out, because I came from University of Hawaii and we had a really big growth in esports, and it was interesting. It fell under the athletic department.
Oh, okay.
And they actually moved some of my innovation resources out of one building and put in the esports team, and it fell under the athletic department, which is, I guess, that,
Yeah, that would be
huge.
cool. Yeah.
I mean, they were filling up the basketball arena for
Oh,
It was
wow.
amazing.
That's
Yeah.
that's awesome.
So
thank you.
like I said, I'll get it for you.
Okay, I'll send you an email, let you know.
Okay. I just noticed there was some stuff in the chat, but oh yeah, thanks, Ken. I think I'm going to stop the recording.